Hello dear children, in today's video we are going to discuss our sixth poem Sonnet 73, which is also called as That Time of Year, which is written by William Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a well-known figure for us as we are studying English literature. We have listened many times Shakespeare's name in different classes. So Shakespeare doesn't need any introduction. When we speak about Sonnet 73 is one of the most famous of Shakespeare's 154 sonnets. Shakespeare had written about 154 sonnets. In that collection, Sonnet 73, which means this sonnet that we are going to study now, is one of the most popular writings of Shakespeare. As you know, sonnet will be consisting of 14 lines. It will be having 3 quatrains and a couplet, concluding couplet. In the same method only, even this Sonnet 73 also had written. There are 3 major metaphors in the sonnet. One is about age, second is about death, and third is about love. The poem is addressing to the fair young or a young man. This complete poem is a message for a young man, and the couplet concludes with a message to the young man also. Mainly in the poem we see the process of aging. The process of aging or the old age life is compared with the 3 different natural things or natural situations, we can say. First one is autumn season, second is twilight or the sunset, and the third is fire. These are the introduction or base of the poem. This complete poem is discussing about old age and the regrets of life. We can say in that way. The poet or the narrator or the speaker, he feels regret that I could love little more, I could strengthen my love. These all thought we are seeing in this poem mainly. So by saying some incidents of life or by explaining, by describing the old age life through 3 metaphors, the speaker is giving a message to the young generation, to the young man, that to strengthen his love. That is the theme of the poem. This poem has a lot of connection with nature because the 3 metaphors, as I already mentioned in the beginning of the introduction, the 3 metaphors are also have taken from the nature only. Even autumn season, sunset, the remaining ashes of the fire, these all things that is taken from the nature only. So let us read the poem first, then we will explain by each quatrain. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fade in the west, which by and by black night doth take away. Death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must live ere long. These are the 14 lines of the sonnet. So before we start the explanation, you should understand thou means you, thy means your, and that we see in the last line, means before. Now we will explain the poem by each quatrain, by reading each quatrain. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves or none or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. So in this 4 lines, or in the first quatrain, the old age, the aging process or the old age life is compared with the autumn season. Autumn season, as you know, that after the season it will be a spring season. After autumn it will be spring season. So in the autumn season the trees will shed their leaves, so there won't be any leaves on the tree. If there is some leaves, it will be yellowish leaves which is already are ready to fall down. In that stage only we'll be having leaves. So Shakespeare saying that time of year, age is like a time of year, old age is like a time of year. In autumn season the leaves are already have fallen from the tree, there are no leaves on the tree. Once it was, when there was leaves on the tree, it was very colorful, birds were singing song. So that time is compared with a choir. As you know, what is choir? Choir is a orchestra, we can say, a group of people who sing song. So it was like choir, a ruined. Now it is like a ruined choir. Now no birds are singing songs on by sitting on the branches of the tree, because there are no leaves on the tree. Now even no birds on the branches. So this is showing another one thing, the unimportance of life. Now the speaker, he became old age, now he is at the end of his life, so he is unimportant in the society. No one is feeling that old age person is important for us. As we know that nowadays in our society that we see old age people there, it is like a burden for most of the children that we see in the society. So old age means it is not at all important, that people they are not at all important for us. So this is such a message that Shakespeare wants to give to us, give to each and everyone, that old age, which means there are no birds to sing song on the branches, means that life became unimportant. It shows the unimportance of life. So that is about first quatrain. You should remember the comparison, the life, the aging process or the old age is comparing to autumn season, because there are no, how in autumn season tree doesn't have how much leaves on it. In the same way autumn season, in the same way our old age life also, there are no people at all with us. It is like a tree without any leaves. Second quatrain. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fades in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up in all rest. So in the second quatrain, our life is compared with the twilight, or we can say the light after the sunset. Just after the sunset, the light that we see, our old age also like that, because after the light, after some time, it will become darkness everywhere. Darkness is the second self of death. Poet says, in me you can see the twilight that remains after the sunset, and the light will fade away and will be replaced with darkness. According to poet, darkness is the second half of death. So just we know that when after just after the sunset we see a little light everywhere, and after some time that light will fade away and it will become dark everywhere, and after the dark, that means night. So how our life after the old age, we have death. It is a natural phenomena that everyone should have in their life. At the end, after once we become old age, and after this next stage is our death. In the same way, after the sunset we have night. Night is the second self of death. Here there is one small thing, that night each day has a it is like a cyclic process. After night again we have a good beautiful morning. But in the case of humans, once after the death, again we have no life at all. There is only one thing. But in the third comparison, it is exactly correct, exactly what is going to happen to each and every human. In the same way only Shakespeare commented the life in the third quatrain. But in the second quatrain, life is compared with the sunset, the twilight after the sunset, and after that we have darkness in the nature. In the same way, after we get old age, we have death. So this is the comparison in the second quatrain. Let's see third quatrain. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. So in the third quatrain, the life is compared to the glowing remnants of fire. which lies on the ashes of his youth. Once, when it sinks into the ashes, the fire extinguishes. In the same way, when we reach our deathbed, at the end, we leave the life. So, this in the third quatrain, our life is compared with the glowing remnants of the fire. Once it was, this ashes was helping the wood to fire nicely, but once at the end, when the fire is finishing, once at the end, at the last balance, if it is that fire, if it is going and touching the ashes, the fire will extinguish. So there the fire end. In the same way, once we have life in our body, once if it finished, then we have no life at all. This body is waste, it has no life at all. So this is the comparison. This is in the third quatrain, Shakespeare wants to compare our life, the old age, with the glowing remnant of fire, which is a little bit balance is there. But once it is sinking with the ashes, the fire extinguishes. In the same way, our life also is going to an end. At the end, we see the same way of death in our life. Every human's life is like that only, which is this is called a natural phenomenon. It should happen, but as we see in the first two quatrains, we have seen two comparison: autumn season or the twilight, which has another one like a stage. Once it ended, again it has a recycle. Once after the twilight we have darkness, and after that we have a daytime also, we have a beautiful morning. Or after the autumn season, again the plants will get the leaves, the trees will get the leaves. But in the case of humans, it is exactly correct in the third quatrain. Once the fire goes, then again it cannot come back. So these are the three quatrains Shakespeare wanted to tell us. And by explaining these three quatrains, by explaining our life with these three metaphors, Shakespeare giving a couplet by a beautiful message for the young man. So let us see what is that. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong. To love that well which thou must leave ere long. In the couplet, poet tells the young man to be aware of these things. So young people, young generation must be aware of all these things. Which are these things? These three quatrains, what we have explained about our life, our young generation, young man must be aware of these things, and he must strengthen his love by the knowledge that he will be apart soon from everything. So by understanding, so our life is not permanent in this planet. We came, one day we came, and another day we have to leave. Another day we will be apart from our people, apart from this planet. So by understanding this fact, by understanding this truth, we have to strengthen our love. We have to strengthen our love. We have to make our love little more strong. We should love everyone. We should love without any condition. Unconditional love that we have to give to each and everyone, our brothers, our sisters, our parents, our family. That is the message, because one day we should leave this planet. One day we should die. We have death, that is constant. That is for sure. We have a death, that is for sure. So by understanding these facts, this is a message from an old man, we can say in that way. This is a message from an old man who is giving to his like the younger generation, that my life is coming to an end. My life is going to end in this way. So you should not feel regret when you are on your deathbed. You should not feel regret that I could have strengthened my love. I could have strengthened my love. That one regret should not come to you. So by understanding these things, you have to strengthen your love. That is the message Shakespeare wanted to give through this poem. I hope you enjoyed this session. I hope you understood the chapter. See you in the next video with the next chapter. Thank you. Take care. Bye.